Now, I don't know about you guys, but it has become quite apparent that Bob Iger just does not know how to do his job properly. He's very incompetent as a Disney CEO, and he constantly lies through his teeth whenever he's actually questioned about the current state of Disney, and whether or not he is really concerned about where things are going with the streaming model, as well as with the current plan for the upcoming movies and more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on between Bob Iger, the board, and specifically an entire concrete plan that they have right now to getting Bob Iger fired for, of course, the role of CEO in 2024. Let's discuss. Now, we know that there are a growing number of shareholders that are becoming more and more unsatisfied with the current state of Disney. We know that the board is also very much worried about how they are being viewed by the general public when it comes to price hikes, when it comes to, of course, the falling, stock, as well as everything revolving around the merchandise for Disney. Things aren't looking good in the grand scheme of things for Disney and, of course, the theme parks, the movies, and everything ranging from the streaming service of Disney+. So on top of this, we know that more and more customers are signing up for Disney Plus to watch one show or, one thing for a given month at a time, and then they go on to unsubscribe from that. That's one thing that Disney does not like, and they have come to realize that that is one major player as to why Disney Plus really isn't meeting expectations on their end. However, on top of this, with Bob Iger currently in a state of damage control and panic after Indy 5 and the leaked photographs of Snow White, however, the Disney board now has a full-fledged plan to fire Bob Iger that is now concrete and put into full effect. One significant development at Disney involves how more than half the board members are actually through with Bob Iger and have made a concrete plan on how to fire Bob Iger regardless of his contract extension. Now, this plan is said to be divided into two different sections/conditions. The updated plan to fire Bob Iger now is if all 4 films come to fail at the box office and fan satisfaction-wise, they are going to move forward with replacing Bob Iger with a brand new CEO. These 4 films include The Haunted Mansion, Wish, The Marvels, and Snow White. Now, the concrete plan right now is to fire Iger by April of 2024, which of course is just after the release of Snow White 2024. The board is giving Iger the benefit of the doubt right now. However, if everything is said to rest on Snow White 24, ultimately as the final blow, the coup de grace, if you will, for Iger's reputation, as they are fully aware that this film is going to deeply impact merchandise and theme park attendance as well. And guys, you know what? I brought this up earlier. Before I get to the next big thing here, let me just say one thing, is that I did bring this up yesterday, that Snow White and its failure at the box office, without a doubt, is going to deeply create a very big damaging effect for the theme park attendance. There's no doubt about this, and as well as the merchandise. And the board realizes this, shareholders are beginning to realize this, and I think that's another major player why Disney stock really is not performing very well nowadays. It's really going down every single month, and right now it's at a low point. It's not looking good, and it's multiple factors that are going into that reason. But moving toward the board here, and this one major condition as to how they are going to fire Bob Iger, I think is honestly being way too nice. I think that they are being way too nice to Bob Iger. They should have fired him already after what happened with Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, the biggest failure over at Lucasfilm of all time, alright? People are actually calling it the biggest flop since John Carter for Disney-wise, and that is an embarrassment. That's humiliating on their end, and if I were the board, I would have fired him immediately. He would have been gone by now. They really should have come up with that decision, but like always, there's always a constant shake-up over at Disney. There's still a divide at, of course, the board, but there's a growing number of the members that are more lenient toward getting rid of Bob Iger, which is good news. That means, everything is beginning to get to the board now. They're beginning to get more and more on edge and worried. Moving onwards, both The Marvels and Snow White are already expected to completely fail at the box office, and that more board members have already converted to going against Iger, and the number of board members are growing at Disney stock is declining over time as they are also worried about their shareholders. Now, with upcoming earnings calls planned to reveal more details about the current state of Disney, this is their concrete plan to fire Iger on this one big condition. Shareholders are reportedly growing very unhappy about the current state of Disney and how the public is beginning to view them as a company. Not to mention more price hikes on the horizon that the board is attempting to tame for both the parks and Disney Plus rates for 2024. Iger is also aware of this entire plan, which is why he is heading into full damage control with The Marvels and Snow White on how those two major cinematic releases are going to be promoted via their marketing strategies. So guys, we touched on this just yesterday. The marketing is going to be sharply and drastically changed based on what has been going on with everything related to the backlash of Snow White, as well as the backlash of The Marvels, alright? Now, we know that the board is beginning to convert and go against Bob Iger, alright? And this is all for multiple reasons. It's not just because of the movies, it's also because of the parks, Disney Plus, the current stock, and everything just related to how damaging, Bob Iger really is to Disney. Again, this is a guy that gave $100 million extra to Kathleen Kennedy for Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, which really ran that movie into the ground. I mean, there's no other way to go ahead and say it, but it's true. Kathleen Kennedy requested so much extra funding for Indiana Jones 5 for specific scenes that ended up getting deleted and wasted. And that really looks bad on Bob Iger for even approving that upon Kathleen Kennedy's requests. The other major player at this is the fact that they are doubling down on Snow White 2024 with the Seven Dwarves. They have no intentions to fix this scenario, to fix this problem, or to even delay this movie to kind of just reshoot some aspects of it. I'm not saying that's the solution. I think that the solution altogether is to cancel this movie flat out, refilm it, wait a couple of years, and then release it. That's what they should do, to be honest. They should really Batgirl the whole thing. Look, if they cancel Batgirl, the whole thing was filmed, Disney can do this with Snow White. There's no excuse. I always felt bad for Brendan Fraser, I will be honest about that. He was going to have a very big role in that movie, but they canceled it altogether. And look, they could do the same exact thing with Snow White with no remorse for Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. We know that it's possible. Now, I'm not saying that Gal Gadot is a bad casting decision for the Evil Queen. I think that she can nail it. I think that she can perform it very well. I don't really agree with Rachel Zegler's portrayal of Snow White, however, or how the Seven Dwarves are being portrayed in this upcoming film. So again, interesting plan by the board. I would like to hear your overall take on this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.